Welcome. My name is Colleen Tauke and I'm the sewing specialist for Fons and Porter. In this Quilting Quickly tutorial, I will show you how to make the quilt called Game Day. As you can see behind me, it's made with some really fun, vibrant juvenile prints, and it's paired up with a navy and a tan color fabric to create these wonderful blocks. So for the pattern for this quilt, you can visit our website to get the instructions, and there it'll lead you to all the amounts and the cuts that are needed. Here we have, we're going to start with 40 2.5-inch strips of fabrics. We also have a wonderful stripe for the binding. It's always great to put in a fun binding at the end. We're also going to be using this navy blue and tan, and those are cut in 10-inch squares. So first off, what we need to do is create strip sets. So we're going to be going through all 40 of these strips, and we're going to find 5 that we want to put together. So it's easy to make sure that the colors are scattered throughout your strip sets. You'll want to do this at the very beginning so that you don't end up with 3 oranges and 2 reds all in one block. So I found 5 different prints here that I wanted to make a strip set of, and then you would just join those with 1/4-inch seam, alternating the direction that you sew the seams so that your strip set stays somewhat square. And there's always a little distortion, but that is one way to keep it from becoming kind of diagonal shaped, because it can stretch out of shape if you keep sewing in the same direction. Then also make sure that you've pressed all your seams to one side, keeping things nice and neat. Now, this is the block that we're headed for right here. You can see the strip sets kind of familiar here. You can see the pieces that are in this block. And then you see the large triangles on the outside. We're not going to cut triangles, but we're going to create them in the overall scheme. So this is what we're headed for. So let's move this out of the way. Keep that in mind, that that's what we want to create. We've got our strip set then created. So we need to cut 10-inch squares off of that. And one side I've already cleaned up. I can show you how we can do that easily on the other end. No matter how you line things up when you're strip piecing, the different fabrics are usually just a little bit different length, so you will kind of have a ragged end. And you wouldn't have to square both ends, but this is how you would square for the one. Come in here and match one of the outer edges along a straight line in your ruler, making sure that you can stay on the print and take away just the selvage edges all the way along, and clean up that outer edge. Now, when you go to cut squares, do the same thing. That you'll need a large square at this point. A 10.5-inch or 12.5-inch ruler is what I'm using here, so that I can cut. Oh, these are 10.5-inch, not 10-inch. That's why we have patterns. Refer to your pattern. These are 10.5-inch squares. So then we're going to cut 10.5-inch pieces off of this, and you'll continue cutting through creating as many as the pattern calls for through all your strip sets. Remember, you'll have a variety of strip sets. You should have 8 of them that you can cut pieces off of. So we've got a square cut like this. Now we want to match it up with a square of the background fabric or the solid, and we're going to put them right sides together like this and create units that look like this. We'll just peek into the future. This is what we want to create. So in order to do that, we're going to take each of the solids, be they the navy blue or the tan. It's just the tan is good at contrast on camera. So let's see, we're going to need a ruler that's long enough to get all the way across. I've got one here. And going corner to corner diagonally, I'm going to mark a line all the way from one corner to the other. Okay, now this is not our stitching line, but this is going to be the cutting line or the dividing line when we're done. Now, if you are comfortable taking this to your sewing machine and being able to stitch 1/4 inch to each side of that line, you could do that at this point, mating these up, or you can come in if you are new to quilting and you really aren't so sure about the 1/4 inch seam yet, and don't feel comfortable just trying to eye that. You can come in here and draw your stitching line 1/4 inch from each side of that center line. This is a long strip across, so it's kind of nice to put in that stitching line just as insurance, even for those of us who have been quilting and we're fairly accurate with our 1/4 inch seam. It just gives us a comfort zone in knowing where that 1/4 inch seam is at. Now the other thing you need to do is that when you are planning your blocks, you need to lay this diagonal the same way, oriented the same way, each time you make a block. Because you could also foreseeably put it this direction. Pick one. All the blocks have to be made orienting the same way, or they will spin in opposite directions. So you want the same motion throughout. You want them, and I will show you a couple of blocks I have made already. What I mean by that, if we put these back as if they were being stitched, or hadn't been cut apart yet. Pretend this is all one piece. The angle going the same. If you look underneath, the strip set is oriented in the same direction, horizontally. Okay, so what we're going to do then is I'm going to place, since I've made some that direction already, then I'm committed to that angle. So I'm going to match the navy the same way. This is a long seam, and I come to quilting from a sewing background, and so I'm very comfortable using pins. I'm going to put this into the sewing machine, and remembering that we want to sew on the lines just outside of that midpoint, we're simply going to stitch side to side across the block. Now I'm using red thread. You would not. If you were making this quilt with this color combination, I would suggest either a navy blue or a tan color, something very neutral colored. Navy to maybe match the navy blue block, a tan to match the tan, or pick gray. That's the easy one, and pick a color that would be neutral on both fabrics. Okay, we get across the block. Then we have to come back on the other side. Remember, there are actually two seams here. So what we're going to do is make 2 blocks. When we're done, once you get used to it, it's great having that line. You can just follow right along. You don't have to concentrate as hard. Sewing goes really quickly. You can make a baby gift or a gift for a young child quite quickly. Okay, now we have both of those like a railroad track stitched across there. And now we are going to splice this open. Now you can use the scissors or you can use a rotary cutter. It won't matter which one. Since this ruler doesn't reach all the way across, I can go part way, stop, and leave my rotary cutter in place, simply slide the ruler along a little further, and complete the cut. And then when I open, I will have 2 blocks made just like here. And you'll notice the angle is going the same way. Now this would give me half a block. I would orient them this. This would be half of a block with the tan on the background, like the one in the first upper corner there. Same thing here. I would go in and press these, and I would have half of another block. So each method, each time you do this process, you'll get the other half. So you would have 4 pieces that go together to make game day. When you're all done, you're going to lay out your blocks 3 across and 4 down, and then you're going to add the red outer border, just a narrow one, and then that fun stripe binding at the end. For more of our videos, visit our website. Thanks for joining me today.